Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land, past, present and emerging, members of Parliament, organisers of the PNG Chamber, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. I'll be presenting on two fronts. I'll be presenting on the Mayur Resources Central Lime Project and also the Mayur Resources Central Cement Project. Standard disclaimer. Okay, so the Central Lime Project, for those that don't understand about lime, by the time the presentation's finished, you will. I think the key here is what the market and shareholders need to know. This is a project that's been developed since 2014. We've been moving this at a fairly fast rate, having taken into account COVID and other things that impact mineral resource development. But look, we're very happy where things are at. We have a 40 million equity investment agreement executed by Sir Mick Davis, the previous CEO of Xstrata, with their battery energy transition private equity fund. We have a $90 million exclusive debt term sheet with a private metals and mining fund also just recently announced. Construction, I'm happy to say, has commenced, and early revenues are targeted for H1 next year. The key with this project is it will start small, but it has a huge opportunity to expand. And when I say huge, we're talking not one-fold, not two-fold, 3 to 4 times bigger than what the initial nameplate capacity is. So just to give you a little bit of an overview, where is the project? Look, we call it the best address in town. I'm sure the PNG LNG shareholders and Papua LNG shareholders would also agree. It's a fantastic location at Caution Bay there, where you can see we're at the end of the Bay Area. At the outset, you can see at the top of the screen the special economic zone and mining lease boundary for the single manufacturing zone. I think I just want to highlight, the same as all oil isn't the same, all mining projects are not the same. This essentially is a quarry with manufacturing facilities connected to it. This isn't a traditional mining project in a sense. It is literally a quarry, but there's a big focus on downstream processing and manufacturing. And I'll talk about that in a moment. The facility is fully integrated. It has its own wharf, power, road, water, and manufacturing facilities. What a lot of people aren't aware is that quicklime is actually a very ESG-based mineral, and it's actually critical for the processing of energy transition metals. So when we hear about copper, we hear about nickel and those sorts of things in PNG, those things cannot be produced without the utilisation in most parts of quicklime. Quicklime, just as a quick 101, is not just limestone. It's taking a high-grade limestone and it's actually calcining it at 1,000 degrees to get quicklime. So you can see the facility there. It's a very attractive site. It's a 150-metre thick ore body. And very handily located next to an oil and gas precinct as well as Port Moresby. So lime, a critical industrial mineral to enable global energy transition. So let me expand. Nickel, copper, lithium, cobalt, rare earths. All of those green-facing metals are required for batteries, for energy transition. But if you don't have quicklime, guess what? You don't have these metals. And that's reality. So when you start looking at supply chains and how are we going to deliver these solar panels, how are we going to be delivering these batteries, you can't just look at that one mineral. You have to look at the supply chain of what it requires to actually produce those types of things. But it doesn't stop there. Quicklime gets used in large part, Harmony, Simberi, Lihir, all of those gold producing assets also need quicklime as well. It's vital to their process. But also, if we take the ESG vein, it gets used for water treatment, metallurgical processing, chemical and industrial manufacturing, agriculture and crop management, so acidification of soils and water. It gets used to alkalise those water and stabilise as a neutralising agent. So where you have an environmental need, quicklime usually comes to the rescue. It's not a very well-known commodity. It's not like a commodity that's on an indice that gets quoted, but it's actually vital in everyday usage. Now, the types of lime that you have is you have limestone, you have quicklime, and you have hydrated lime, and they all get used in some way, shape or form for similar processes. So just a little bit more about the Vision Blue investment of 40 million. That's expected to be the required equity to build the project. They will have a 49% stake, with Mayur Resources retaining 51% stake. But I think, look, quoting Mick Davis, the importance of lime supply to the processing of minerals and metals linked to the energy transition is considerable, and the leadership team credentials of Mayur is world class. We've put a world class team together that have done nothing but lime. For the last 30 years, that is all they've done. So we're extremely confident in the board and the CEO's capability to deliver this project, having successfully done so throughout the world, Southeast Asia and Australia. Along with the development of or provision of equity, we've got a 90 million exclusive debt term sheet with a private metals and mining fund. 70 million of that goes to the first stage, and the other 20 million goes for expansion opportunities, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So you can see here, the construction work has already commenced at Point Kiddo. What you see there is the wharf that is being developed. That's circa some 380 metres out into the water. The ultimate chainage, there's still another finger wharf and some piling to occur. You can see the jack-up rig there that came out of Curtin Brothers. For all those in PNG, that's a very familiar name. And you can see the width of the wharf facility. It'll be a multi-purpose wharf that can have land barges and also large mother vessels up to about 55,000 to 60,000 deadweight tonnes, and will be at lowest astronomical tide at about 10.5 to 11 metres of water. So if you think about opening up gateways, opening up infrastructure, this is really the only seaborne quarry, quicklime facility and manufacturing facility in PNG and also in Australasia. Now, just talking about the ability to expand, the resource is extremely large. It's a 400 million tonne circa, it's actually 386 million tonne resource, or thereabouts, 382, with very high grade. Now, that gives the ability, if you're only producing 400,000 tonnes of quicklime, you're only using about 1 million tonnes a year. So based on the resource size, the ability to expand and meet market demand is extremely large. The Wood Mackenzie global and regional demand outlook already shows quicklime in deficit. The pricing has already been shown to be in deficit, and has responded accordingly with large price increases. The market has been slow to respond, And it isn't easy just to go and find a quicklime resource that is so ideally located on the coast with all the attributes that this one has to compete with Papua New Guinea. So the quicklime opportunity we have here, we see as very large. We see it contributing to battery metals. We see it contributing to PNG. We see it also contributing to the downstream processing commitment and manufacturing commitment that the government has made. This quarry is going to be the first in PNG to be a downstream vertically integrated industrial manufacturing facility. We've been, as I said, working on this since 2014, and it's a process that has taken time, and we've had to tick a lot of boxes, as you have to do as responsible corporate citizens in developing these sorts of assets. I'll now just slightly change gears and talk about the Central Cement Project. Again, downstream processing, and it's really supporting the rock to road policy to build a nation. For those of you that don't know, Papua New Guinea, for all of its infrastructure and everything that it has, not 1 tonne of clinker integrated with cement is manufactured in Papua New Guinea. Everything is imported from Japan and China. The clinker pellets are imported, the powdered cement is imported. Nothing is made locally, yet we are so abundantly rich in resources on the doorstep, not only for Papua New Guinea's use, but also to service an export-derived market, which I'll talk about. But I just want to quickly touch on a couple points. You look at PNG's GDP versus cement consumption, 45 kilograms per capita, and you look at the rest of the developing world and nation, between 250 and 700 kilograms per capita. PNG is lacking and lagging behind in infrastructure development, and it would do far, far better with a cheaper, much more reliably homegrown, made, supplied Portland grade cement. And that's what this site has. Think about it. For a country of 10 million people, it doesn't have its own cement to make a bridge, to build a road. And these things, PNG's time has come, and it's about to change. I'd also like to draw on what the other speakers talked about yesterday, and some of the most senior ministers that were in the room, around electrification. This is also a direct correlation to say the more electricity that's consumed, the direct correlation is with GDP. So if you're consuming more cheap, reliable, affordable electricity, it's not a maybe, it is an absolute certainty your GDP will be higher. And with higher GDP, there's a direct correlation with higher cement consumption. Prosperity of infrastructure and electricity go hand in glove. Therefore, we're making our little contribution to quicklime and cement with a quarry and a processing manufacturing facility, and that's what we're doing. We do have opportunities in solar at a future point, but that's something that we'll talk about another time. We're just quickly flicking here, the cement project that you can see in the distance, a Ray Ray quarry. So the Kiddo quarry is for the quicklime, the Ray Ray quarry is for the cement. Combined 400 million tonnes. This facility will enable, as I said, the building of PNG. It's fully permitted. The other opportunity also is that Australia is importing 50% of its cementitious materials from North Asia. So my question is, why can't Papua New Guinea participate in that? Why does it have to be China, Indonesia, Vietnam? Why can't PNG be an exporter? It has the product. It's on the doorstep of Australia. And I'll show you a chart in a moment. But I think the understanding that quarrying is critical to enable downstream processing of manufactured products is not that well understood. It's boxed in mining, when actually this is quarrying with manufacturing and downstream processing. Phase 2 of the cement project, strategic partner discussions are also underway, separate to the announcements I've made about the debt and equity for the quicklime. Just to give you a little bit of colour, I'm not going into huge detail, but across Kiddo, Lele and East Lele, there's some 382 million tonnes of resources. Most of that is in the measured category, which is the highest category of confidence you can have at very high grades. The addressable market, okay, for clinker and cement, we're looking at 1.7 million tonnes out of a total market of circa 6.5. But when you look at, well, how can PNG participate and be involved in this picture tells 1,000 words. I'll let you just look at it for a moment. What's the reality? The reality here is that PNG is 2 to 7 days sale versus North Asia of 21 days sale. When we talk about reducing the carbon emission footprint, the logistics costs, improving bilateral trade with Australia, reducing inventory levels that Papua New Guinean companies need to hold and Australia needs to hold, PNG, that location is the area of choice. This will be the area of choice in the future also. So we see this as a massive opportunity. As I said, 50% of Australia's imports are coming from North Asia. PNG should have their fair share of what that is, as well as, and to be clear, the commitment we've got is we will service 100% all of Papua New Guinea's lime and cement needs first before 1 tonne goes offshore. It'll be 100% DMO that we meet their commitment of everything's required for PNG's building needs, then Australia gets some and not before. So I think that's a little bit of a difference and a change and an opportunity for us to really support local nation building on a vertically integrated business. So I think just in concluding, I think some of the leaders are already thinking that way. If you look at concrete arterial roads, they are extremely effective. They last some 40 years. It connects people. What are the things that face PNG? High rainfall, high traffic, unfortunately not so good maintenance, and high levels of terrain. Paved roads is an amazing opportunity in the right circumstances to use PNG cement and truly deliver a rock-to-road policy that creates thousands and thousands of jobs for local Papua New Guineans, as well as equity participation. Thank you very much.